My name is Tim Thibodeau, and I've been involved in ACTS for the last 17 years. When people ask who invited me, it was God, because I didn't know a single person at Prince of Peace. I own a local fence company, and I'd done a project here at Prince of Peace, and I started coming to Mass again. I hadn't been to Mass in 25 years, and I was at a very desperate and low place in my life. I was very suicidal at that time. I had been divorced. And they were handing out these little brochures, a little trifold. And I picked one up and I'm thinking to myself, well, it can't hurt. Before I check out, I might try to go on one of these. And I brought it to my office the next morning, and there was this fly that just kept landing on it. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this fly on this brochure? And it just kept flying around. And so I called and I spoke to Deacon Chuck, God rest his soul, and I said, you're probably all full, so no room. He goes, oh no, we have plenty of room. This was the Sunday before the retreat started. He said, yeah, come on in. I signed up, and when I went there to the retreat, I was in my room, and I had a bunch of guys in my room. They're all snoring, and I couldn't stand it. I went on the sofa, and then I don't know if it was a dream or what it was, but this gigantic fly just appeared in front of me, and I looked up and I'm like, oh my God. And then the fly unzipped its head, the head, lifted it up, and it was my father, who had passed away many years ago. And he said to me, I never thought you'd figure this out. And then he flew off. And so it's kind of a bizarre story, but it's the truth. I was director back in 2009. And then 2010, we missioned to Sacred Heart in Conroe. And just to watch men come in and the transition and the transformation from the time they enter to the time they leave. I didn't have any friends at Prince of Peace, and I mentioned I was suicidal. There was one older man, God rest his soul. He told me that his son had committed suicide. And he told me, here's my telephone number, day or night. If you ever have that feeling, I will come and I will pray with you, and I will save you, because that should never happen to any parent, let alone your children. ACTS is something that I've taken on very passionately. It's kind of like that Fabergé commercial. You ask two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on and so on. The beautiful part about ACTS is that my whole family's gone. My wife, by the way, I did get remarried to my wife, and she noticed that when we got back together, she said, something's changed in you. I don't know what it is. And I told her, I said, I went on an ACTS retreat, and I found God again. My mother, she told me that I knew you would find your way back. And she was right, because she had laid the foundation at a very early age. My children have gone, my brothers have gone, and I had a good friend of mine, his name was Nick Bazan, he was an ACTS brother. And he said, I'm from the tree of Thibodeau. He said, anytime someone would be invited, they would refer back to me, and so they just kept building this pyramid. So I'm very proud of all the people that I've invited, who have invited. That's how important it is to me. When I went on my retreat, I was given a small gift. It was a cross made from nails, and it was very impactful. The welding job wasn't too good, and I own a fabrication company, a fence company. But I can make these things. I'm going to make some. So I did. That's how I started to give back. And then they were talking about these other crosses for the tables. And so I designed a cross. It was a three-dimensional cross. And it was my daughter Megan, who was a co-director, said, Dad, can you put something so we'll know what the theme is? And so my first one that I made, it was a very simple, and it had a little tiny cross, just made out of wire, because the theme was about love. And from then on, we've just gotten very, very detailed, and a woman who works for me, Marian Pereño, has taken on that at my company, and she's done some remarkable work with the theme pictures and just anything that related to that particular theme. Someone asked me, how many crosses have you made? Well, the gifts that we received, over 7,000 I've produced, and the table crosses about 1,000. And it's people at my company know Everything stops when we make those crosses.